One that is now officially, okay, let's pay attention to this.
Totally.
At least it hit me this weekend.
No. This is why.
Okay.
When I went into the control room today, I was like, I think we got to put this Makai Lemon Eagles thing in the conversation here. This is to me, a bigger deal, and obviously to you, than it's kind of getting attention for right now.
Because this is the time of year where I'm not looking back at where do I have him for the draft, but I'm looking back at, okay, looks like who we thought they'd be and who has been quiet.
Yes.
And it hit me the other day. I'm like, I've heard a lot of buzz about a lot of first-round guys. It felt like 80% of the first round showed up to camp and lit camp on fire. I was like, damn, I haven't heard anything about Makai Lemon.
Nothing.
And I'm kind of fascinated by the Eagles' new offense and all this change and everything with that. Makai Lemon now has missed 4+ full practices. It's a lingering hamstring. I believe this hamstring had popped up in OTAs.
In the OTAs, he missed a bunch there, too.
Right. Nick Sirianni on Makai Lemon said, it's just right now, how do we get him healthy? How do we get him as healthy as we can and get him back rolling? So he missed 2 weeks of OTAs.
Yeah.
The thing about this one is why it feels different than a lot of the other receivers drafted. Makai Lemon is basically drafted and like, hey, you're our number 2 receiver.
He was penciled in right away.
And
You're pro
that's
ready.
changed
You're go. Yeah.
because of, some circumstances here.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm looking at this like I'm pretty concerned right now.
I would be. I think it's worthy at least to discuss here and flush it out. One, it's a guy that not everybody in the draft loved, and I being one of them. I understand he was good. He's certainly that.
Right.
Was I a guy that questioned whether he should be a first-round draft pick? Yeah, I definitely was that guy.
Yeah.
Now, he went way in the first half of the first round. So that, of course, is going to put more scrutiny and more of a telescope on it that way. All right, so you got that. The other thing you go off of is, this, and this is probably one of your concerns as well, at least, and I know you were higher on him than me, was just that he's not famous for, like, explosive ability anyway.
I don't think he runs away from people.
That was my. Did he ever run in the 40? He never had to run the 40, right? I don't think he ever did.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and so that was always a thing that was interesting to me. I don't think he ever did. I
know he didn't at the combine.
He definitely didn't at the combine.
Oh, so he had the very controversial pro day one.
Oh, right.
Because it was the I'm not even going to read the range of times, but everybody was like, what time was that actually? So, yeah, it didn't really.
It went from like 4.6s to 4.5s to high 4.4s.
4.48.
Yeah, I know.
Where
it was
it's
all
like
over
everyone's
the
got a
place. You're
different
right. I
time.
remember that now. I
So,
do. Yeah. So that was a question to begin with. And then, okay, so now you're getting to a point here where, he hasn't practiced a lot. They needed him to be kind of pro-ready. They picked him, I think, as high as they did because one of the big reasons, and this is where teams liked him, is you felt like he was pro-ready, like you were explaining.
Yep.
Like, oh, hey, he's on our roster, pencil him in as our number 2 right away. And that's what happened. But now they're in a spot where Hollywood Brown hasn't been great in practice. Dontavian Wicks is not a consistent, like, gonna make the fan base feel warm and cozy.
He's the
type
guy
of thing.
popping though.
I know,
Like,
right? So he
right.
just has to be but he hasn't proved himself to be that guy yet. So you got that. They got guys like Darius Cooper, right, who I think has got a lot of talent, but again, kind of an unproven commodity. So that's gonna make you feel a little nervous. And so where does it go? Where does it go? If you didn't have Makai Lemon and he was out right now, or if he wasn't on the team, and I think you just looked at this receiving core without Makai Lemon, you'd go, ooh, I think they're probably going to have to trade for somebody at the end of training camp, or maybe try to pick up somebody else's cut, late camp release to add to the group. It doesn't sound like that's there right now, but regardless, the Makai Lemon thing's a little concerning right now.
Well, he was someone, going back to what you said, Chris, they moved up for him to, seems like, jump the Steelers because they thought he could play right now. And Makai Lemon, in theory, when he's healthy, he can contribute to you. Like, he's tough over the middle of the field.
Totally. Good route runner.
He's going to eat up zone, all of those things.
Yep, got great feel.
But this is just lingering long enough now where you look at it and go, this can't go on much longer, or else you have to question how the targets are going to be spread around the first month of the season.
Yeah. No, and to your other point, too, with the Sean Mannion thing and what the offense is going to look like, too, this is where I questioned Makai Lemon there because they haven't had guys that do that role in the Jalen Hurts era. It's really just guys that are freaky on the outside who can win.
Let's be real. Let's talk about who they moved out and then brought in.
Exactly.
They couldn't be more different from each other.
It couldn't
A.J.
be
Brown
more
and Makai
different.
Lemon.
And then Devontae Smith is, skinnier than A.J. Brown or whatever, but really a go route, slant route kind of guy as well. So they've never been the team that, hey, we want a slot guy that knows how to run all these intricate routes. And, he's really not the number one read, but he's the number two read on a lot of plays and doing that. The offense doesn't really fit that. Now, maybe it will with Sean Mannion, and Jalen Hurts will take into all that, all the things we've talked about all offseason. But, yeah, I found that, to be somewhat interesting here for a team that we know is one of the better teams in all of football.
And we'll be keeping an eye on this one for the next couple of weeks.
Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. If you want real football talk all the time, follow us through the NFL season as we recap games, break down films, give our weekly picks, and do much, much more.
And make sure you hit subscribe. You get reminders for all of our live shows taping Monday through Friday. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe. Peace out, homies. We'll see you on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.